What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys didn't notice, my last video that did really well is now missing, and you might be wondering why was that perfect video missing that laid out the simple steps to bring back good car meets in the car scene. And the reason might be a shocker. I told people not to shoot other people at car meets, and that was flagged for dangerous and harmful content.
That's enough. That's enough. President. You are a terrible person. You shouldn't be working.
But I did some digging though, because I did not believe that was the real reason why I got banned. It was just a weird coincidence that this was the first video I had a face cam and I got banned. So I did inspect element because I'm like a professional hacker and stuff. And I figured out the real reason why is because I'm just too handsome. So in this video, we are gonna turn off the face cam, go old school with it. And this video is gonna be part 2 of great rear wheel drive at JDM sports cars for under $5 grand. And if you did have the chance to watch the last video and you want to know a cool car to bring to a car meet, this is a video for you because we're going to go over some cheap ones that are still really cool and we'll get some good looks at the car meet. And let's get into it. So for the first car, this is going to be the newest car on the list. It looks great, parts are readily available, and it checks off all the boxes for a daily driver, back seats, trunk, Toyota. That is the Lexus IS250, made from 2006 to 2013. We've all heard of the IS300 and how great it is, but not as many people are into the IS250. For good reason, it doesn't have as much horsepower. It's arguably a worse car. They did come in manual transmission, but the manual transmission is taken out of a truck, so it's not even that good, and you probably don't want the manual transmission in this car, unless you're into rare things, and then at that point, it's just bragging points like, hey, I've got the rare IS250 manual. And a lot of people say this thing is underpowered, and you should get the IS350, but the IS350 breaks the bank a little bit. It's over $5 grand.
And there's no money in here!
So the IS250 is perfect for such a cheap car, and that is because it checks the simple box of looking good. Just like someone who buys a $10,000 R32 Skyline GTS, that's a 4-door version, you don't really get the motor, you don't really get the transmission. Matter of fact, you don't really get anything cool except it resembling the look of an R32 GTR, but people still buy it and then they make them look cool and keep them slow and reliable. That's exactly what people do to this car. If you're into style but not so much speed and you just want a cool project car that you can make look cool, or a replica ISF build but not have to worry about spending so much on gas with an ISF V8, then this is the perfect car for you. And you may ask, how much horsepower does this thing make? Does it make 2 horsepower? No, it makes a respectable 204 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque, but that's less than the IS300, and that's about how much a Camry makes nowadays, so as a sports sedan it's kind of lacking. Here is a 2008 Lexus IS250 listed for $6,000 14 hours ago. Give this guy a week, offer him $5 grand, and he will take it after about 30 minutes of negotiation. He says everything works good. It has only 144,000 miles. These motors are known to go over 200,000 miles with no problem, so you won't have any issues for a while there. And it overall looks clean. It has a couple dings on the front bumper. Switch that out for an ISF bumper, IS350 bumper, or a cool body kit. Throw some of those new VSKF wheels that are coming out on the car, and you will have a good looking luxury sports sedan. Now, if you want a reliable Lexus, but you need something that you can mod the engine on because the IS250 is not known to handle mods well, then I would go with the second car on this list, and that is the SC300, aka the luxurious Supra. Now there are some pros and cons to this. The SC300 is moddable. It came with the notorious 2JZ GE that came in the IS300, as well as the NA Supra and the GS300, making 225 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. But the con is that it is an older vehicle made from 1992 to 2000. Now that doesn't mean it's less reliable because you got one of the best motors Toyota ever made. And the 2JZ GE with a simple turbo and stock internals can make around 400 horsepower reliably. It just means you won't be able to find body panels, headlights, interior parts as easy as an IS250. Now these have been going up in price while the IS250 has been going down, so this also could be a good car investment if that's an actual thing. I'd say probably 5 years ago, I was on the verge of buying a SC300 with a 5-speed manual and only 100,000 miles for $5,500. Now that's not even a possibility, and you're looking at more to $10,000 to $15,000. But just because you're late to the train doesn't mean you still can't hop on it at the last second and enjoy an SC300 automatic. They're still great cars for $5,000. They got the 2JZ GE, the rear-wheel drive. It's a Grand Touring sports coupe, and they look elegant. Not to mention the interior is plush and those seats are super comfy. You're getting a car with an MSRP of $45,000, not accounting for inflation. for 5 grand. Here is a 1993 Lexus SC300, and the description is short but simple. Car like new, TMU, original, 120,000 miles, super clean. Now it is kind of confusing because he says true mileage unknown, but then he says the original miles was 120, and then it says it's driven 47,000 miles. So you definitely would have to call up Inspector Gadget to do some digging and figure out what the hell this guy's talking about. But once you do, and if it matches up with the Carfax, then this wouldn't be too bad of a deal. Obviously it's not the cleanest because it has a big old dent on the right front fender, but for $5,000 you can't really go wrong. The paint doesn't look too bad. The seats in the rear look good. The seats in the front, where are they at? They don't look too bad. I've seen worse. The engine looks clean, and if I was getting this car, I would definitely be wary since it looks like it's at a dealership or a mechanic shop, and usually they like to churn and burn stuff, so I'd make sure they're not churning and burning on me. But if they weren't and they're an honest dealership for $5,000, I mean, you really cannot go wrong. It has a couple dents, but hey, it's an old car and you got a budget of $5,000. If it runs good, this would be a sweet car, and it's a beautiful color. Now, if you've been watching this video so far and you're like, blah, 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 reliable, don't need that, new, don't need that, I just want something that's gonna be exhilarating, someone that's gonna make me tear my hair out of my head on a bad day, but give me the thrills of a lifetime on a good day, then I've got the perfect car for you. And for the third car on this list, we have the Mazda RX8. Now, after buying one of these, I would be surprised if you even made it home, because any rotary for $5,000 or $10,000, even that, is most likely gonna give you some issues. But if you're into working on cars, this might be the car you're looking for because you'll be working on it a lot. The RX8 was around from 2003 to 2012 and made anywhere from 189 horsepower to 247 horsepower and 159 pound-feet of torque, depending on the year, trim, and transmission that you got. These either came with a 4-speed automatic, 6-speed automatic, 5-speed manual, or 6-speed manual, and all of them came with suicide doors. The RX8. Now, if you're up for the challenge, these things can be pretty fun. They're high revving, and you have to rev them high to keep them even somewhat reliable on a consistent basis to get rid of the carbon buildup and keep those apex seals in good condition. So you have an excuse to punch it every single day. On top of that, not too many cars come with suicide doors nowadays, so you can always flex on the haters with those. The RX8. And last but not least, whenever you go to a car meet, you can annoy everybody else by saying that you have a rotary and you're better than them. But at the end of the day, this is one of those cars that you can have a lot of fun driving it for the week, and then one day you just walk out to the garage, try to cold start it, and it doesn't turn on, and you're thinking, shit, there goes my next paycheck because I'm gonna have to spend it on repairs. Now, if you're a fanboy of the RX-7 FD, FC, or even the FB, and you don't got $10, $20, $30, $40,000 laying around to get an RX-7, then the RX-8 is a great choice. Right now, it's a hated car because it has suicide doors, which quote unquote makes it a 4-door. There's no option for turbos, unlike the RX-7 FC and the FD, and it doesn't look as good as its predecessors, but I foresee in a couple years, once the RX-7 becomes unobtainable for most people, that people are gonna start to gravitate towards the RX-8, and at that point, the prices are gonna shoot up. So if you wanna avoid paying a lot of money for an RX-8, then you should definitely get one now, because once the RX-8 becomes unobtainable, there's no more cheap rotaries left to buy. Here's one for sale. This is a 2005 Mazda RX-8. It has 95,000 miles, and you'd be thinking, wow, if this was a Toyota, that's like 150,000 miles that I could put on this thing before it breaks down. But with the RX-8, that's something to actually be worried about, because unless the car is brand new with 0 miles, which even then you'd probably still have issues. Regardless, with these cars, you'll just have issues even if you take really good care of it, and some people may say different, but they're lying and they're just biased. This guy wants to trade for anything but an RX-8 at this point, but it is a 6-speed manual, which is the most desirable transmission, and it's got a K&N intake and a brand new stage 1 clutch and pressure plate. The interior does not look bad. The leather looks good, other than the steering wheel. Again, it is a manual, so that is a big bonus, and overall it doesn't look bad. It's Puerto Rican owned, and one thing I know about them is they take good care of their cars. Hopefully this one is not an exception, and this one works perfectly, and for $5,000, this wouldn't be a bad deal. Good luck on making it home after buying the car. Now, if you want Japanese styling, but deep down you're an American and you just need a V8 in whatever car you get.
Hey Bobby, look, I'm American.
I think I'll use my credit card.
And this next car is for you. For the 4th spot, this might look familiar, the SC400. Now it's really hard to find any V8 no matter where it comes from for under $5,000, but this one is even better because it's a Toyota and it's reliable. These things are known to go up to 1 million miles and plus, and just like I said about the SC300, the styling is elegant. These suckers were made from 1992 to 2000 and came with a good amount of horsepower. If you got a 92 to 95, it made 250 horsepower. 96 to 97 made 260, and when they introduced VVT-i in 98 from 2000, it made 290 horsepower. Now you might be thinking, which one is for me, the SC300 or the SC400? The main difference is obviously one comes with a 6-cylinder and one comes with a V8, and the 6-cylinder responds better to modding than the V8. So if you're looking to add a turbo to any one of these cars, I would recommend going with the SC300 because you can make 400 horsepower reliably, versus the SC400 is one of those cars where you just add an exhaust, listen to the beautiful sound of the V8, and stay at the 290 horsepower that it came with. Here is one for sale. This is a 1993 Lexus SC400. It has 111,000 miles on it. It says very clean, but I'd give it at best good because there's some cracks on the front bumper. I saw a dent on the rear already. He says it's mechanically sound but has an exhaust leak and it's OBO, so 5,500. I'd give this guy $4 grand. From the pictures it looks decent, and I like the pearl white on these SC400s just because it looks luxurious. What kind of scares me is he's taking these pictures from far away, so I don't know if there's dents that are being hidden by the distance, but oh my god, it just got even farther. Jeez, is the next one gonna be across a football field? Ah, great, in the dark. So this guy, I feel like is definitely trying to hide something, but you get the gist. You can find one of these for under $5,000, and it might not look the best, but it's gonna run great because of the super reliable 1UZ, and that's just gonna give you the motivation to mod and fix this thing up to make it the luxurious Supra it's supposed to be. Now this last car on the list is not gonna have a lot of horsepower. It doesn't come in manual. It's gonna look decent, but the main reason why you want this car is to feel the wind in your hair, and that is the S13 240SX convertible. Why, may you ask, only the convertible? They made the S13 as a coupe too? Well, that's because those are too expensive, but because nobody likes convertibles, these are relatively cheap and they're just underappreciated. These were made from 1992 to 1994, so you could say they are rare, and they made 155 horsepower and 160 pound-feet of torque from the KA. These cars give you a chance to be different. Not too many people take a 240SX convertible, put the JDM motor in it, fully restored, and make it a cool build. So if you put enough money into this car, you could end up in some magazines and be featured on some YouTube channels just because you don't see it too often. But in its stock form, the only fun thing about this car is taking the top down because the motor is slow and the transmission's automatic. Here's one for sale. This is a 1993 Nissan 240SX. Only got 110,000 miles, which is a decent amount, but the KA can handle it. It's a relatively reliable motor. He says it runs real good. It does need a new top, but it's 6,500 OBO. Whenever anybody says OBO, they will take $1,000 less right off the bat. And since this one is listed 4 weeks ago, he's gonna take $5,000 for this thing, no doubt, if you bring it to him cash in hand. Paint doesn't look too bad, car doesn't look too bad, but the pictures are taken from a football field away, so I can't tell you for sure. But overall, with the pictures he does show, it does look pretty clean. He says there's no problems with it. This would be a decent deal, and you can definitely make this into a cool build. So I hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of some great rear-wheel drive JDM sports cars for under $5,000. I think this one is going to be the last one of this little series because I really can't find any more. If you know of any, leave them in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.